Samuel Rodriguez wiped the sweat from his forehead as he trudged home from Lincoln Middle School. It was December 8th, but the Texas sun still beat down mercilessly at 2 in the afternoon. His backpack felt heavier than usual, loaded with textbooks and a science project he'd been working on all week. The street was quiet, lined with modest suburban homes and neatly trimmed lawns. As he crossed Bishopsgate Street, his mind wandered to the video game tournament he'd planned with his friends for the weekend. He barely noticed the woman approaching from the opposite direction until he was almost upon her. She was pushing a baby stroller with one hand while holding a leash in the other. Attached to that leash was a white, fluffy dog, medium-sized, maybe 30 pounds. Samuel couldn't identify the breed, but it looked expensive, well-groomed, like something you'd see at a dog show. Maria Hernandez had been looking forward to this walk all day. Her 6-month-old daughter, Sophia, had finally stopped fussing, and Snowball, their 2-year-old Bichon Frise mix, needed exercise. The neighborhood was peaceful, perfect for an afternoon stroll as she rounded the corner onto Bishopsgate. She spotted a teenage boy walking toward her on the sidewalk. Maria had always been conscientious about other pedestrians. Her sister had a terrible fear of dogs, and Maria made it a point to be considerate when passing strangers. She guided the stroller to the left side of the sidewalk, positioning Snowball on her left and the baby carriage on her right. There was plenty of room for the boy to pass on the right side, away from the dog. Samuel noticed the woman moving to the side and assumed she was making space for him to pass. He appreciated the gesture and continued walking, keeping to the right edge of the sidewalk. That's when things went wrong. As Samuel drew closer, Snowball suddenly became agitated. The dog's ears perked up, and he began jumping erratically, pulling against the leash. A low growling sound emanated from his throat. Not the playful growl of a dog at play, but something more menacing. "Don't do it," Maria said firmly to the dog, tightening her grip on the leash. "Snowball, no." Samuel heard the warning and felt a spike of anxiety, but he was already too close to turn back. He quickened his pace, hoping to get past the situation as quickly as possible. The moment Samuel was parallel to Maria and the stroller, Snowball lunged. The leash, wrapped around Maria's hand and the stroller handle, gave the dog just enough slack to circle behind Maria's legs. In one swift motion, the dog's jaws clamped down on Samuel's left calf. The pain was instant and shocking. Samuel jerked away instinctively, pulling free from the dog's bite. He stumbled forward, his heart pounding, adrenaline surging through his body. What happened next would become the most controversial part of the story. Samuel didn't stop. He didn't scream. He didn't confront Maria or demand to know why her dog had attacked him. He simply kept walking, his pace faster now, his mind reeling. Behind him, Maria had pulled Snowball back sharply, regaining control of the leash. She glanced at the boys retreating back, confused by his lack of reaction. The dog had barked. She was sure of that. But had anything more happened? "Snowball!" she scolded, her voice sharp. The dog sat obediently, tail wagging, seemingly proud of himself. Maria looked after Samuel, who was now a good 20 feet away, still walking steadily homeward. He hadn't turned around. He hadn't said a word. There was no blood that she could see, no torn clothing, no indication that anything serious had occurred. She convinced herself that nothing had happened. Maybe Snowball had just snapped at the air near the boy. Maybe she'd pulled him back in time. The boy certainly didn't act like someone who'd been bitten. Maria continued her walk, pushing Sophia's stroller and keeping Snowball on a shorter leash now, just to be safe. Samuel reached his house 15 minutes later. His father, Marco Rodriguez, was in the garage working on his truck when Samuel rushed past him and into the house. "You okay, Mijo?" Marco called after him. "Fine." Samuel shouted back, but his voice cracked slightly. Something wasn't right. Marco wiped his hands on a rag and followed his son inside. He found Samuel in the bathroom, sitting on the edge of the tub, rolling up his pant leg. "What happened?" Marco demanded, kneeling beside his son. The bite was unmistakable. 2 puncture wounds in Samuel's calf, surrounded by red, inflamed skin. The area was already beginning to bruise. "A dog bit me," Samuel said quietly. "On Bishopsgate, like 5 minutes ago." Marco felt his blood pressure rising. "Did you tell the owner?" Samuel shook his head. "I just wanted to get home. Show me exactly where this happened." Within an hour, Samuel was at the emergency clinic. The doctor examined the wound carefully, cleaning it and applying antiseptic. Then came the difficult conversation about rabies. "We need to know the vaccination status of the dog," Dr. Patterson explained. "If we can't confirm that the animal is up to date on its shots, we'll need to start the rabies protocol immediately." "What does that involve?" Marco asked, though he had a sinking feeling he already knew. "A series of injections. We'd start today with immunoglobulin injections around the wound site and in the arms. Then rabies vaccine shots over the course of several weeks." Samuel's eyes widened. "How many shots?" "For today if we can't find the dog. 2 in your arms, 2 in your legs, around the bite area." Marco made a decision. "We'll find the dog. Give us 24 hours. He drove back to Bishopsgate Street with Samuel, asking neighbors if anyone had seen a white, fluffy dog being walked that afternoon. Most people shook their heads, but an elderly man watering his lawn 3 houses down from the incident site remembered seeing a woman with a stroller and a small white dog. "She lives over on Meadowbrook," the man said. "Can't remember her name, but I've seen her walking that dog before." Marco thanked him and expanded his search. By evening, he'd filed a report with the Pflugerville Police Department, providing a description of the dog and the approximate location of the attack. The next morning, December 9th, Officer Janet Morrison was following up on Marco's report when her radio crackled to life. "We've got another dog bite reported on Meadowbrook Drive. Caller says a white fluffy dog attacked someone." Officer Morrison's pulse quickened. 2 dog bites in 2 days, same description of the animal. This couldn't be a coincidence. She arrived at the scene to find an agitated woman in her 60s speaking rapidly to another officer. The woman, Carmen Hernandez, was Maria's mother-in-law. "I was walking the dog for my daughter," Carmen explained, her accent thick with emotion. "A pit bull came running at us. No leash, nothing. My daughter's dog was just defending us." Officer Morrison took careful notes. "Ma'am, was your daughter's dog on a leash?" "Of course. I had him right here," Carmen demonstrated, clutching an invisible leash to her side. "And you're saying the other dog was unleashed?" "Yes. Came charging from across the street." "What was I supposed to do?" Officer Morrison glanced at her notes. "Ma'am, this is the 2nd incident involving this dog in 2 days. Are you aware of that?" Carmen's face paled. "2nd? No, that's not possible. Snowball is a good dog." Officer Morrison contacted Marco that afternoon. "Mr. Rodriguez, we believe we've located the dog that bit your son. There was another incident today involving the same animal." Marco felt a mixture of relief and anger. "Where can I find the owner?" "I can't give you that information directly, but I can facilitate a meeting. The owner has been informed of both incidents and the potential legal implications." That evening, Marco received a phone call from an unknown number. A woman's voice, tense and defensive, identified herself as Maria Hernandez. "I understand your son is claiming my dog bit him," she began. "Claiming?" Marco's voice rose. "Lady, I saw the bite marks. We have medical records." "I was there," Maria insisted. "The dog barked. That's all. Your son didn't say anything, didn't react. If he'd really been bitten, don't you think he would have said something? My son was scared and hurt. He just wanted to get home." "I'm sorry, but I don't believe that's what happened." The conversation deteriorated from there, ending with both parties threatening legal action. Because the dog had been located and its vaccination records confirmed, Samuel was spared the full rabies protocol. However, as a precaution, the doctor still administered 4 shots, 2 in his arms and 2 in his legs. Samuel sat stoically as each needle pierced his skin, but tears streamed down his face. The pain of the injection somehow hurt worse than the original bite, and the humiliation of it all. Being attacked by a medium-sized fluffy dog, having to get shots because someone couldn't control their pet, was almost unbearable. "You're being very brave," the nurse said gently, applying bandages to each injection site. Samuel didn't feel brave. He felt angry and violated and confused about why the woman with the dog hadn't apologized, hadn't even acknowledged what had happened.